Hi, I'm Mark Tilley and welcome back to Dirtbike Magazine's video series Premix, where it's all two strokes all the time. Today, we're getting our first real look at the 2022 Yamaha YZ125. We've heard for a lot of years that it was getting some restyling and some upgrades, and Yamaha pulled out all the stops on this bike. It's got brand new styling. The main frame is still the same. Suspension is the same components with different settings. The subframe has changed for the new intake angle. Carburetor is now a key-in carb. It's actually the same carb that comes off of the 250, the YZ250 model. Naturally, it has different settings, but it's the same exact setup. The other big news on the intake is the use of Moto Tassinari V-Force reeds. The engine, looking at the engine from the outside, you might think that it looks the same, but there is a lot of subtle differences. Internally, it's a completely different engine with different cylinder, different crank, different rod, all that stuff. The transmission has been beefed up to be stronger all the way around. There's also upgrades to the braking system and the drive system with a lighter sprocket. The wheels off of older Yamahas will fit on this bike. None of that stuff changed. And then naturally the styling. The styling's all brand new. Got the same styling as the YZ250, and the seat has changed. Just by looking at it, you can tell it's got a lot flatter type of design to it. Getting access to the airbox, there's one bolt that goes through the seat, kind of like some of the European minis we've seen, to where they have kind of a quick release. This is a 8mm bolt that you just take off and the seat would pop off to get easier access to the airbox. And then, like we said before, it's got a flatter design of the seat. So that's enough talking. If you want all the in-depth details on what they exactly changed, head over to dirtbikemagazine.com. We're gonna go ride this thing. So we just finished our first day of testing on this bike. The test rider that you will see in this video is none other than Carson Brown. Can ride anything underneath the sun, so what we found on our first day of testing, the bike runs cleaner throughout, and we're not sure if that's the carburetor setup, the new intake setup, or the new V-Force reed system. The last year's model was a little bit kind of dirty feeling right off bottom and you kind of had to get past that little area. This bike has immediate response now. Like I said, it is our first day of testing. We don't really know exactly what it is, but it is cleaner all the way through. We're going to maybe attribute that to the brand new key and carb that comes on this motorcycle. We messed around with some gearing. We went up a tooth, we went down a tooth, but the 49 tooth rear sprocket is working pretty good. We did have to lean the air fuel screw out a little bit just to get it a little bit crisper off bottom. Carbureted 2-strokes, you do have to kind of mess around with jetting when the temperature changes. It was a nice day out here at Glen Helen. We had great riding weather. We might want to go a little bit leaner on maybe a Pilot to get a little bit crisper off bottom, but other than that, the bike worked great. Power-wise, they changed a lot of stuff on the motorcycle. It didn't really change the motor characteristics of the bike. It still has 125 power, not huge increases over what last year's bike was, but if you are a YZ125 rider, you will like this motorcycle. The other thing that test riders noticed across the board was the bike has a flatter feel ergonomically, and you can see that when you put the bikes right next to each other. It doesn't dip down right before the tank like what previous models were. It feels about the same width-wise. Have to look through the smile when the test rider comes off the track. Everybody smiles when they're on the track on a 125. You just sound like you're going fast. You feel like you're going fast. One thing about the 2022 model is Yamaha made a bunch of changes, a bunch of upgrades, and the price only went up about $300. Last year's bike was around $65. This one's around $68. Got to give kudos to them. The bike is still less expensive than its competitors. Again, this is our first day of testing on the 2022 Yamaha YZ125. We do plan on spending a lot more time on this motorcycle, so check back to dirtbikemagazine.com for in-depth reviews of this motorcycle or a printed magazine in the near future. But the bottom line on this bike, Yamaha didn't hurt themselves by any of the upgrades that they made. We like pretty much everything across the board. We just want to spend more time on the bike. As always, don't forget to click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our latest releases. And if you got a little bit more time on your hands, click the video thumbnail now.